They never expected to see you standing again, not after what you walked through, not after what clawed at your lungs, your mind, your spirit, not after the sickness that tore through humanity like a blade dipped in hopelessness. But here you are, upright, unshaken, breathing air that once felt hostile, moving with a steadiness that shouldn't be possible. You didn't just survive the plague that broke humanity, you adapted, you mutated, you evolved. And now they're looking at you like they're seeing an irregularity in the fabric of existence. Something that shouldn't be here but is. Something that shouldn't be alive but refuses to die. Because you're not one of the ones who barely made it out. You're one of the few who came out stronger than when you went in. The sickness tried to rewrite you, but you rewrote it instead. The world watched you drop into that pit, and every statistic, every percentage, every fearful whisper suggested you wouldn't come out. But statistics never accounted for someone like you. Let's revisit that darkness, not because you need to relive it, but because understanding the crucible explains the blade you've become. They think the sickness was just physical. They think it was just fever, weakness, exhaustion. They have no idea. The real sickness wasn't biological. It was psychological, emotional, spiritual. It was the collapse of trust, the crumbling of identity, the slow erosion of hope. It was lying awake with thoughts spiraling so fast they carved trenches in your mind. It was your body waging war against itself, while your surroundings acted like your suffering was either exaggerated or inconvenient. It was watching the world fragment while you held your ribs together, praying they wouldn't snap under the weight of everything you weren't saying. You endured an infection that no medicine on the planet could have treated. You survived nights that broke people for far less. You walked through months that made even the strongest question whether they wanted to keep going. And still, you continued. You didn't just endure the sickness, you consumed it. You let it burn you, break you, hollow you, and then you filled the hollow spaces with something new. Something the world can't classify. Something that cannot be weakened by the familiar toxins that once poisoned you. They whispered that you wouldn't come back. They assumed you'd stay quiet, diluted, detached. They were wrong. The death they predicted was symbolic, not literal. They expected the illness to erase your confidence, your voice, your direction, your will. They expected you to be a reduced version of who you once were. They expected fragility. They expected collapse. Instead, you emerged different. Not softer, not weaker, not emptied, but recalibrated. Every breath you take now is a defiance. Every step is a contradiction. Every decision is a reminder that you didn't just survive, you ascended. The sickness killed pieces of you that needed to die. It stripped illusions you didn't know were blinding you. It forced you to meet yourself without distraction, without noise, without escape. And that confrontation forged a version of you that terrifies people, even if they pretend it doesn't. You're carrying something in your chest now, something sharper than fear, sturdier than faith, heavier than doubt. Call it adaptation, call it evolution, call it whatever you want. But everyone who sees you feels it instantly. They sense the calm in your posture, the precision in your choices, the lack of hesitation in your movement. You're no longer reacting to life. You're responding with the clarity of someone who already walked through catastrophe and came out holding the blueprint. They don't understand how you can walk so steadily after losing so much. They don't understand how you can breathe so calmly after gasping through the nights that nearly broke you. They don't understand how someone who walked the edge between life and oblivion can now speak with a voice that doesn't tremble. They don't understand because they've never had to rebuild from the ashes of their own downfall. They've never had to reconstruct themselves without a manual. They've never had to confront the truth that no one was coming to save them. You did. The sickness carved away the noise. It stripped false attachments. It peeled back illusions. It taught you who would show up when you were down to your last ounce of strength, and who would pretend they didn't see you. It revealed who cared and who cared about the performance of caring. It showed you who understood the gravity of your battles and who viewed your suffering as an inconvenience or opportunity. The sickness showed you humanity, raw, unfiltered and unmasked. And what you saw changed you. You learned that most people fear what they do not understand, envy what they cannot control, and attack what they cannot break. You learned that survival exposes dynamics that comfort hides. You learned that pain clarifies agendas faster than any conversation ever could. And you learned that once you survive something that tries to erase you, nothing else has the authority to define you. They tried to diagnose you as weak. You emerged as a contradiction. They tried to classify you as broken. You returned as something unrecognizable. They tried to dismiss you as finished. You rose as the final stage of what they feared the most. Someone with nothing left to lose, nothing left to prove, and nothing left to fear. You're not the same person anymore, and they know it. People are studying you now, watching, whispering. They see the shift, even if they can't articulate it. They see the way you move differently, how you conserve energy, how you stop explaining yourself, how you walk into spaces with an awareness that makes others second-guess their intentions. Your presence has changed. Your aura has sharpened. Your boundaries aren't soft suggestions anymore. They're reinforced walls built from the bricks of everything you endured. Your instincts have sharpened, too. Before the sickness, you doubted yourself. You questioned your perceptions. You ignored the warnings your own body gave you. But now your instincts fire like a defense mechanism evolved over centuries. You recognize deception before the first word leaves someone's lips. You feel hidden motives like pressure under your skin. You sense danger not because you're paranoid, but because you've already lived the consequences of ignoring your intuition. The sickness didn't just change your body, it enhanced your awareness. It recalibrated your perception. It trained your senses to catch microscopic shifts in energy, tone, intention. It turned your nervous system into a truth detector. And now, that detector is always active, always scanning, always filtering. This is what terrifies people. They can't lie to you anymore. They can't manipulate you with old tactics. They can't guilt you, shame you, or distract you. You've stood at the edge of collapse. Nothing they say rattles you now. You've fought battles no one else will ever understand. Nothing they threaten you with carries weight. You've walked through depths that would drown most. Nothing they take from you hurts the way the sickness once did. You aren't just immune to the sickness, you're immune to the people who fed off your vulnerability. And they feel it. They feel the shift like an atmospheric pressure drop. They feel the new version of you walking into rooms like someone who's tasted their own mortality and decided to stop negotiating with life. They feel the edge in your presence. They feel the clarity radiating off you. They feel the glow that came from surviving something that should have folded you. And underneath all their reactions, jealousy, awe, confusion, intimidation, there's something deeper, recognition. Because whether they admit it or not, They know exactly what you've become. A final boss, not because you're flawless, not because you're invulnerable, but because you endured something catastrophic and refused to stay collapsed. Because you've seen rock bottom and your eyes adjusted. Because you've been shattered and put yourself back together, piece by piece. Not the same shape, not the same structure, but stronger, sharper, cleaner. You're operating from a vantage point most people will never reach. A place where fear no longer controls you. A place where pain no longer overwhelms you. A place where loss no longer defines you. A place built from the ashes of everything that tried to destroy you. You survived what humanity wasn't built to handle. You rose from conditions designed to break the strongest minds. You walked out carrying lessons, weapons, and knowledge that can't be taught, only earned. And because of that, the world around you has shifted permanently. People treat you differently now, some with reverence, some with anxiety, some with discomfort, some with envy. They try and fail to hide behind forced smiles. They sense something in you they can't categorize, a depth they can't mimic, a strength they can't imitate, a calm they can't disturb. They feel like they're dealing with someone who's been rebooted by fire. They're right, because what almost killed you didn't just strengthen you, it redefined you. And now comes the part they aren't prepared for, the part where survival is no longer the story. Now the story is what you do with the power the sickness forced you to unlock. Because you're not here to crawl. You're not here to recover quietly. You're not here to slip back into the version of life that existed before everything changed. No, you're here to step into the role the sickness sculpted you for. You're here to rise as the after effect they never predicted. You're here to become the presence they can't counter. You're here to embody the evolution they can't replicate. That's the part that shakes them, the part that makes their chest tighten and their thoughts scatter. Because now they're realizing something they never wanted to acknowledge. Survival wasn't the end of your story. It was the origin point. The sickness wasn't your conclusion. It was your catalyst. Everything that tried to kill you ended up awakening a version of you that doesn't answer to the same rules, the same fears, the same limitations as before. And the moment you stepped into this new phase, something inside you shifted from reacting to leading, from enduring to commanding, from clinging to rising. Let's talk about what that shift really means. Not the pretty version people romanticize on the internet, not the soft, watered-down language that makes survival sound poetic. I'm talking about the real transformation, the one that happens at the cellular level, the one that rewrites how you move, how you sense, how you choose, how you protect yourself. The sickness didn't just break you open, it rewired your entire operating blueprint. It stripped away the illusions you were conditioned to carry. It exposed truths you didn't want to see. It forced you into a state where every weakness had to either die or evolve. You didn't choose this evolution. It chose you. And now that it's activated, you carry a presence that makes people hesitate before they speak, before they approach, before they attempt to test your boundaries. They can feel the shift. You don't even have to open your mouth. They feel the weight of someone who's been through the unendurable and came back with clarity in their eyes. They feel the steadiness of someone who survived their own collapse. They feel the quiet certainty of someone who rebuilt themselves in a space where most would have stayed shattered. You walk differently now. You listen differently now. You breathe differently now. Not out of fear, but out of awareness, out of command, out of understanding. You don't rush into situations anymore. You assess. You don't give people access anymore. You observe. You don't tolerate chaos anymore. You detect it early and cut it off without hesitation. The sickness didn't just strip away your innocence. It gifted you an advanced form of perception. You notice shifts in tone before the sentence finishes. You sense hidden motives before they fully form. You detect dishonesty like a taste in the air. This is what happens when you survive something that kills the unprepared. You come back with instincts sharp enough to slice through illusions. You come back with an intuition that reacts faster than logic. You come back with a sense of self that refuses to be distorted again. They don't like this version of you. They're confused by it, threatened by it. They don't know how to navigate you anymore. Before the sickness, they relied on your softness, your empathy, your hesitation, your desire to maintain harmony. They relied on your willingness to give chances, to overlook red flags, to minimize your own discomfort for the sake of connection. But those parts of you died in the fire the sickness created. And the new version, the one forged through collapse and rebirth, doesn't bend where the older version crumbled. There's something almost unnatural about the calm you carry now. Not numbness, true immunity. The kind of immunity that comes from understanding that nothing external holds the power to destabilize you anymore. You've already tasted the worst. You've already lived through nights where your body felt foreign and your mind felt dangerous. You've already endured the isolation that makes most people unravel. So anything they do now, anything they attempt, anything they try to provoke, you register it, you analyze it, but you don't absorb it. The sickness taught you that pain is a messenger, not a master. Fear is information, not a command. Loss is transformation, not punishment. And once you internalize those truths, you become unshakable in ways that don't require noise or aggression. Your strength is quiet but unmistakable. Your presence is calm but uncompromising. Your boundaries aren't defensive walls. They're the natural result of knowing your worth after nearly losing yourself. Let's go deeper into what makes you the final boss in this era. Not because you're perfect, not because you're invincible, but because you've entered a category of existence where most people cannot follow. While they cling to familiar patterns, you rise beyond them. While they repeat the same routines, you break cycles instinctively. While they avoid discomfort, you walk straight into it and reshape your life accordingly. The sickness conditioned you for a level of resilience that cannot be fabricated. It carved iron into your emotional foundation. It burned illusions off your identity like old skin peeling away. Final bosses aren't born. They're sculpted through suffering, reshaped through rupture, reborn through endurance. And every part of you reflects that process now. Your voice carries a conviction people can feel, even before they hear your words. Your eyes hold a depth that comes from nights spent confronting your own shadows. Your mind operates with precision because it learned to navigate chaos while holding your life together by threads. Your spirit carries a quiet authority that commands respect without requiring validation. Final bosses don't brag. They don't posture. They don't broadcast their power. They don't seek approval. They simply exist with a presence that forces people to adjust around them. And that's exactly what's happening with you. People who once underestimated you now tread carefully. People who once ignored you now analyze their every word around you. People who once doubted you now observe you with a mixture of curiosity, envy, and unease. They sense that you're no longer someone they can predict or control. They sense that you're no longer driven by insecurity or attachment. They sense that you're operating on a frequency they can't reach without going through their own crucible. But that's the thing. They didn't go through yours. They didn't face the sickness that stripped you down to raw nerve. They didn't confront the nightmares that crawled into your thoughts while you lay awake fighting for breath. They didn't feel the ache in your bones, the trembling in your spirit, the silence in your chest where hope once lived. They didn't earn the clarity you now carry like a second spine. You earned every fragment of this evolution through pain that nobody saw, sacrifices nobody acknowledged, and battles nobody understood. And now you're beginning to realize something powerful. The sickness didn't weaken you. It removed everything that wasn't meant to stay. It cut you away from people who only knew how to love the version of you that didn't know how to protect yourself. It detached you from environments that fed on your energy but never nourished your growth. It burned bridges that led to places you were never meant to return to. It isolated you so deeply that the only voice you could hear was your own. And that voice, broken but honest, rebuilt your entire identity. They're shocked by how little you respond now. They expect you to react the way you used to, emotionally, impulsively, desperately. They expect you to fall into old patterns, old roles, old wounds. They expect the sickness to have left you fragile. Instead, it left you fortified. And that creates a kind of confusion that borders on panic for people who depended on your old self to stay comfortable. Let's talk about the abilities you carry now, the ones people can feel but can't articulate. You carry emotional antibodies. When someone tries to manipulate you, your intuition spikes like an immune response, shutting down the threat before it infects your peace. When someone tries to love you from a place of attachment or neediness instead of sincerity, you feel the imbalance immediately. When someone tries to pull you into drama, chaos, or distraction, your inner equilibrium rejects it like a toxin. You're no longer pulled toward what drains you. You're pulled toward what aligns with the version of you that survived. People who haven't gone through this level of collapse assume healing means softness. They think emerging from darkness means becoming gentle. They expect vulnerability to return the moment the crisis ends. They expect you to soften back into the version of life you lived before everything changed. But people who survived what you survived understand the truth. Healing doesn't make you soft. It makes you precise. It makes you discerning. It makes you intentional. It makes you selective. It makes you powerful. Because now you understand that your energy is not infinite. Your compassion is not currency for others to spend. Your presence is not a resource for people who injure you repeatedly. Your time is not something you exchange for validation. Your peace is not negotiable. This is the final boss energy they feel when they stand near you. The energy of someone who won't be guilted, persuaded, manipulated, or pressured into anything that contradicts their new foundation. And underneath all this, something even stronger is forming. A new purpose. You've survived the sickness. You've learned your lessons. You've integrated the pain. Now your path is shifting again, not toward survival, but toward mastery, toward leadership, toward dominance in your lane, toward a future that requires you to step into the version of yourself that the sickness was designed to reveal. Because make no mistake, the sickness didn't break you randomly. It broke everything around you so you could rise without carrying the weight of what wasn't meant for your next stage. It isolated you so you could hear your own calling. It weakened your body so your spirit could strengthen. It ended chapters you refused to close. It removed people who would have corrupted your next season. It forced you to confront your real identity. And now that you've survived the hardest part, the question isn't, why did this happen to me? The real question is, what am I going to do with the power I earned? That question is the threshold, the dividing line, the moment where your story stops being about what happened to you and starts being about what you do with the aftermath. Because power earned through survival is different from power inherited, different from power taught, different from power stolen. Power earned through devastation is intimate, sacred, non-negotiable. It binds itself to your bones. It becomes part of your breath. It shapes the way you see the world and the way the world sees you. And that's the part no one prepared for. The version of you that emerges once the sickness has finished its work. You've spent months, maybe years, transforming in the dark while the world assumed you were just healing. They thought you were recovering, resting, stabilizing. They thought you were stuck in survival mode, patching yourself together with whatever scraps of hope you could find. They had no idea you weren't just healing. You were evolving. You weren't just regaining strength. You were redefining the word. You weren't just getting back up. You were learning how to rise in a form they can't influence, can't intimidate, can't mislead, can't derail. So now you stand here, at the edge of your old life, and the entrance of something bigger, and the world feels different because you are different. And the question echoing through your chest, what am I going to do with the power I earned? Is not a whisper, it's a declaration, the beginning of a new order, your order. Because what you carry now isn't ordinary power. It's the kind of power that can't be taught, the kind that can't be mimicked, the kind that comes only from facing your own fragility and conquering it. Let's talk about the truth you haven't said out loud. You didn't just survive the sickness that broke humanity, you transcended it. While others were trying to return to who they were before, you refused to go backward. You knew that going back meant returning to habits that harmed you, relationships that drained you, environments that suffocated you. You understood that the old world, the one before the collapse, was never meant for the person you were becoming. The sickness didn't just change you, it revealed you. And now the world is starting to sense you're operating on different terms. They see it in your eyes, the steadiness, the fire, the absence of fear. They hear it in your voice, the grounded cadence of someone who doesn't raise their tone to be heard. They feel it in your presence, the weight of a spirit that has been tempered rather than tamed. People who once talked over you now watch their words. People who once underestimated you now double-check their intentions. People who once assumed you were fragile now feel a disquiet they can't explain. Because here you are, walking like a contradiction, someone who has known collapse but no longer collapses, someone who has been shattered but is now unbreakable, someone who has been weakened but now radiates an authority that feels instinctual, ancient, unstoppable. This is the phase where your power becomes directional. Before, it was internal, quiet, contained, held inside your chest. But now it begins to expand outward, shaping your decisions, your relationships, your boundaries, your path. You're no longer responding to life as it comes. You're steering it. You're no longer absorbing what happens. You're choosing what enters. You're no longer explaining your value. Your presence explains it for you. That's why people are shifting around you, subtly, nervously, instinctively. They can feel that you're no longer available in the ways you used to be. You're not accessible to the same chaos, the same distractions, the same manipulation. You're different now. Your body remembers every moment where you were left to fight alone. Your mind remembers every thought that tried to convince you to give up. Your heart remembers every pulse that felt like it might be your last. And that memory has become a compass that refuses to let you move backwards. This is where the final boss energy emerges, not as arrogance, not as dominance for the sake of dominance, but as clarity. You see through people in ways they wish you didn't. You sense intentions that others try to hide beneath smiles. You detect danger long before it materializes. You understand patterns the moment they begin. And you cut ties without hesitation because you finally understand the cost of ignoring your instincts. Final bosses don't announce themselves. They don't seek approval or ask permission. They don't compete. They don't chase. They don't prove. They simply exist with a presence that requires others to adjust. And that's what you're stepping into now, the era where your existence recalibrates the room. But let's go deeper into what that actually means. It means you're not controlled by old wounds anymore because those wounds have become warnings. It means you're not triggered by old patterns because those patterns can no longer infiltrate your field. It means you're not shaken by loss because you've lived through losses that stripped you down to your essence. It means you're not afraid of endings because you understand endings are the birthplace of transformation. This new version of you is not built on avoidance, it's built on awareness. It's built on discernment. It's built on discipline. It's built on the understanding that your energy is sacred and must be guarded like a fortress, not from fear, but from wisdom. Because the sickness didn't just change what you tolerate, it changed what you attract. Before, chaos found you because chaos could still infect you. Now, chaos can't survive in your presence. It burns out before it reaches your door. People who operate from confusion can't cling to you anymore. People who operate from insecurity can't manipulate you anymore. People who operate from selfishness can't siphon your strength anymore. Your immunity isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's psychological, it's spiritual, and it radiates through your aura with a clarity that filters your entire environment. Now comes the hardest truth. You can't go back. Not to old identities, not to old relationships, not to old dynamics, not to old versions of yourself. You've crossed a threshold that cannot be uncrossed. You've awakened abilities that cannot be unwoken. You've gained knowledge that cannot be forgotten. You're not supposed to return to who you were before the sickness. That person didn't survive. That person evolved. And what stands here now is the upgraded form, the one the sickness accidentally forged in the dark, the one that carries the very antibodies that make you untouchable. But what do you do with that untouchability? What do you do with that fire beneath your ribs? What do you do with that clarity in your mind? What do you do with that resilience in your blood? You do what final bosses do. You step into the arena not as a participant, but as the standard, because that's what you've become now. The measurement, the threshold, the example, the blueprint that others study in quiet, wondering how someone who should have folded became someone who commands their own existence. They don't understand that the sickness didn't give you power. It revealed the power that was already in you, dormant, waiting for the exact kind of pressure that would force it to surface. And now it's surfaced fully, unapologetically, irreversibly. You've become someone who doesn't flinch at responsibility because you've carried heavier burdens alone. You don't fear transformation because you've already undergone the kind most people wouldn't survive. You don't cling to comfort because you understand that comfort is the enemy of evolution. You don't place your worth in other people's hands because you learned the hard way how easily those hands can drop you. Now your worth is internal, rooted, anchored, unshakable. This is the stage where your power begins to influence not just your own life, but the lives around you. You walk into conversations with a clarity that disarms people. You walk into relationships with boundaries that filter out the unworthy. You walk into opportunities with discernment that keeps you from being exploited. You walk into challenges with a calm that others mistake for fearlessness. It's not fearlessness, it's familiarity. You've been through worse. Let me tell you something people won't admit out loud. They envy the version of you standing here now. Not because your life is perfect, not because your path was easy, but because you did the one thing they've spent years avoiding. You faced yourself fully, without distraction, without escape, without pretending you were fine. You confronted your own shadows and walked through them until the person on the other side matched your truth. That's why your presence feels heavy, magnetic, grounded. You're not carrying ego, you're carrying experience. You're not wearing confidence, you're wearing survival. You're not projecting strength, you've become strength. And strength like this is rare. People who haven't gone through their own collapse don't understand how you move now. They think your boundaries are coldness. They think your focus is arrogance. They think your silence is disinterest. They think your standards are harsh. They think your independence is isolation. They don't understand that everything you do now is intentional, deliberate, rooted in a deeper understanding of life than they've ever accessed. You're not avoiding people, you're avoiding regression. You're not shutting down, you're filtering. You're not detached, you're selective. You're not distant, you're aligned. This is what happens when you become immune to what once infected you. And now that your immunity is complete, physically, emotionally, spiritually, the next transformation begins, stepping into your role as the final boss of your own story. Not the villain, not the hero, not the victim, not the survivor, but the strategist, the architect of your next chapters. The one who decides the direction instead of reacting to it. The one who shapes the battlefield instead of fighting on someone else's terrain. This is where everything changes. Because now you operate with a mindset that most people only pretend to have. You don't react, you anticipate. You don't respond, you calculate. You don't chase, you choose. You don't hope, you create. You don't lose, you learn. You don't fear endings. You initiate them when necessary. You've reached a level of self-mastery that makes old problems irrelevant and old enemies powerless. The things that used to shake you don't even reach your awareness anymore. The people who once intimidated you couldn't break through your energy now if they tried. The patterns that once trapped you dissolve the moment you recognize them, which is immediately. You've become a closed circuit, self-powered, self-validated, self-directed. But pay attention. Final bosses are not defined by aggression. They're defined by awareness, presence, strategy, and you've developed all three. Your transformation didn't make you reckless. It made you precise. It didn't make you hardened. It made you wise. It didn't make you angry. It made you clear. You carry yourself now like someone who has nothing left to prove because you realized your existence is the proof. What people feel when they encounter you now is not intimidation, it's recognition. Recognition that you've walked through corridors they're terrified to even acknowledge. Recognition that you've faced truths they've been running from for years. Recognition that you've grown in ways they didn't think were possible for someone who went through what you went through. Recognition that you didn't come back the same. And that difference, your evolution, is what makes you the final boss of your own life. Not because you dominate others, but because you mastered yourself. Not because you control people, but because you control your path. Not because you're untouchable physically, but because you're untouchable emotionally, mentally, spiritually. This is where your purpose sharpens, where your path clarifies, where your identity locks into place with a level of certainty that feels almost supernatural. And here's the most important part: you're not done. Survival was phase 1, evolution was phase 2, mastery is phase 3, but the final phase, the one everything has been preparing you for, ascension, rising into a version of yourself that doesn't just survive the world, you shape it. A version of yourself that doesn't just respond to life, you direct it. A version of yourself that doesn't just protect your energy, you transform the spaces you enter. This is your emergence, this is your declaration, this is your coronation. You survived the sickness that broke humanity, not to return as who you were before, not to blend back into environments that couldn't protect you, not to shrink around people who can't understand you. You survived to become something else entirely. A force, a presence, a blueprint, a final boss.